On DSW1, we are going to configure the DHCP service. Let's type in configure terminal. And we are going to exclude a range of addresses. And that range of addresses is going to be 10110 through 10130. So we are handing out IP addresses for VLAN 10 here. That's what we're going to be doing. So PC1 is going to eventually receive an IP address from a DHCP server. And we want to exclude IP, DHCP, excluded address, 10.1.1.0 through 10.1.1.30. Now we're going to create our pool. And I always do the exclude address range first before I create my pool. And the reason why is because if I create my pool and I start handing out addresses that I don't want to hand out, well, then I've already handed out that address. So I do my exclusion first. Now we create our pool. I'm going to call it VLAN 10 underscore pool. So we have to give it a name. And now I'm going to define the network. So what is the network we're handing out IP addresses for? So network 10.1.1.0, 255.255.255.192. So this is the 10.1.1.0/26 network. What's the default gateway going to be? It's going to be the default router of 10.1.1.1, which happens to be DSW1's IP address of VLAN 10. Do show IP interface brief. We can see from this output that interface VLAN 10 has an IP address of 10.1.1.1. So that's also our default router for VLAN 10. Next, we are going to define two DNS servers within our environment. Our DNS servers are DNS1 and DNS2, and their IP addresses are, let me see here, 10.1.200.50 and 10.1.200.51. So I can specify two different DNS servers within the environment, so the client's going to learn about both. I'm going to give it a domain name as well. We're going to call this switch.local just for fun. But if you want to hand out a domain name to your client, you can do that here as well. And let's also add in option number 150, which is what, folks? You remember? TFTP server for Cisco IP phones, so they can get the configuration from it. All right, so 10.1.200.52 is our TFTP server, which is file server 1. Oh, and let's set up a lease as well. Lease, we can see here, so let's do 7 days, 5 hours, and 26 minutes. So since we already have interface VLAN 10 with an IP address that is in the same network as the IP addresses we're handing out for, we're good to go right now. So let's look at the show run piped section DHCP. Let's look at our DHCP configuration. All right. Let's now go over to PC1. And on PC1, let's go ahead and change how it's going to receive its IP address. So go to Properties, IPv4, obtain from DHCP. All right. Oh, we can just do, ipconfig switch all. Scroll back up here. There we go. Look at that. That was relatively quick. We can see that it's received the domain name. DHCP is enabled. It received 10.1.1.34 from the DHCP server. There's the subnet mask it received. We can see when the lease was obtained, when it's going to expire, and the default gateway is 10.1.1.1. That's also the same IP address as the DHCP server. And there's the DNS server information that it received, 10.1.200.50 and 10.1.200.51.